Hello everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Rumana Ali. I hope you all are doing well. In the last class, we have started one chapter named photosynthesis in higher plants, and I told you that photosynthesis is a process that takes place that can be completed by the two reactions, and that are the reactions that takes place in the presence of light, or the light dependent reactions are called as light reaction, and the reactions that does not dependent on light. It do not uses the light, that light independent reactions are called as dark reaction. This light reaction is again classified into two main processes, that are cyclic photophosphorylation and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So this light reaction can also be termed as photophosphorylation. Here photo means light and phosphorylation means adding phosphate group to synthesize ATP. In the ADP, in diphosphates, when we add inorganic phosphate, it results in the formation of ATP. So this type of reaction, the ATP can be synthesized in this light reaction. That is the reason it can also be called as photophosphorylation. And this process, light reaction, shows the two main processes, that are cyclic photophosphorylation and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Let us discuss about each process in detail. So in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, we all know that chlorophyll A will be the reaction center, and around the chlorophyll A pigment some other pigments are also present, and these pigments are called as accessory pigments. When sunlight falls on these accessory pigments, they absorb the photons, and that photons are passed to the main reaction center, that is to the chlorophyll A pigment. After receiving sufficient amount of the photons, the chlorophyll A is a pigment which releases a pair of electron, and this pair of electron is going to be accepted by primary electron acceptor. This is PS2. This non-cyclic photophosphorylation is a process that starts in the photosystem 2. Whenever we heard the term photosystem 2, we need to recall the other name of the photosystem 2, that is photosystem 680 nanometer. That means the chlorophyll A of this PS2 system absorbs the light which is of 680 nm wavelength. So in this way, the PS2 photosystem 2 is the main system where the non-cyclic photophosphorylation starts. Now when the two electrons are released or excited by this chlorophyll A pigment, it is going to be absorbed by the primary electron acceptor. Now from this primary electron acceptor, the electrons moves down. They are going to move from high energy level to lower energy level. When they come down, so they move from higher energy level to the lower energy level through some electron acceptors, and that forms the electron transport chain. So here 3 electron acceptors involved in making the electron transport chain, through which the electrons are coming down to the lower level. So here the first one is PQ. Let's write the full forms here. PQ is an electron acceptor which is called as Plastocyanin, and CY stands for cytochrome, and the third electron acceptor is PC, that stands for Plastocyanin. So the electrons from the primary electron acceptor, it is going to move to the Plastocyanin, then to cytochrome, and finally it is going to reach Plastocyanin. When it enters or when it passes down to the cytochrome, at this level the cytochrome releases some energy, and that energy is going to be used by the ADP to be combined with the inorganic phosphate. So when ADP combined with the inorganic phosphate, it results in the formation of ATP molecule. So at this site, when the energy is released from the cytochrome, that energy is used up to form ATP. ATP is going to synthesized here in this step. Now the electrons which reaches the Plastocyanin electron acceptor, when the electron reaches the Plastocyanin, which is an electron acceptor, now from this Plastocyanin, the electrons will enter into the PS1 system, photosystem 1. So photosystem 1 also shows the presence of reaction center, that is chlorophyll A molecule, and around which again accessory pigments are present, and when the sunlight falls, these accessory pigments receives the photons and transfer that photons to the chlorophyll. Now when chlorophyll absorbs sufficient amount of the photons, it is going to excite two electrons. A pair of electron is excited by this chlorophyll molecule, which is going to be absorbed by primary electron acceptor. Now the primary electron acceptor of photosystem 1, again it is showing the transfer of electrons from higher energy level to lower energy level. From the primary electron acceptor, it moves down in the FD, that is in the electron acceptor called ferrodioxin. From the ferrodioxin, it is going to move to NADP. Now at this level, the NADP is going to reduce. The reduction reaction takes place. Reduction is nothing but addition of hydrogen atoms, addition of hydrogen molecules to the substance. That process is called as reduction. So from where the hydrogens are going to come? So here in the PS2 system, photolysis of water takes place. Photolysis of water is nothing but splitting of the water molecule. So this water molecule, it will split into two electrons. The splitting of the water molecule takes place and it results in the formation of two electrons, two protons and one nascent oxygen. Here only one atom of oxygen, one molecule of oxygen is present. That is the reason we are writing in a bracket, and this oxygen can be called as nascent oxygen. Either we can write oxygen atom, nascent oxygen atom in this way, or we can write it as half O2. Now this two electrons that results by the photolysis of water, it is transferred to chlorophyll A. When the chlorophyll A pigment releases or it gives the electron to the primary electron acceptor, then to replace that electron, the electrons from the photolysis of water, the electrons which are released by the splitting of water, they are going to transfer to the chlorophyll A. In this way, the replacement of the electron can take place, and the protons which are released by the splitting of water, it is given to photosystem 1 here for reduction reaction. NADP, here hydrogen atoms, protons are added and it results in the formation of reducing power called NADPH2. So once again I am going to repeat it. In the photosystem 2, photolysis of water takes place. That results in the formation of two electrons, two hydrogens, that means two protons and one nascent oxygen. These two electrons are absorbed by the chlorophyll A molecule, and this chlorophyll A molecule, after getting sufficient amount of the energy, it releases a pair of electron that is accepted by primary electron acceptor. From the primary electron acceptor, it moves down to the lower level through some electron acceptors like plastocyanin, cytochrome and plastocyanin, which forms an electron transport chain. Now from photosystem 2, that means from plastocyanin, the electrons reaches or it is going to transfer to the chlorophyll A of photosystem 1. The chlorophyll A pigment of photosystem 1 absorbs 700 nanometer of wavelength. So when it reaches the chlorophyll A of PS1, again the chlorophyll A molecule of photosystem 1 releases electron that is going to be accepted by the primary electron acceptor. Then from primary electron acceptor, it again shows a short electron transport chain that shows the presence of ferrodioxin and NADP. This NADP, it undergoes reduction reaction. That means the hydrogen atoms are added up in this NADP, which results in the formation of reducing power that is named as NADPH2, and the protons that are added in the reduction reaction are taken up after the photolysis of water, and the nascent oxygen which is remained after the splitting of water, that nascent oxygen is released out as a byproduct. So this is about the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. In this non-cyclic photophosphorylation, ATP is synthesized and the reducing power called NADPH2 is also synthesized. This non-photophosphorylation process is also called as Z scheme because here it is going up then come down, then it is again going up. So in this way it looks like the alphabet N, but it is called as Z scheme. And this non-cyclic photophosphorylation is a process where the splitting of the water molecule takes place, and where both the systems, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2, are involved, and it takes place in the thylakoid membrane which is present in the chloroplast. Now let us talk about the process called cyclic photophosphorylation. I told you before that photo means light and phosphorylation means addition of one phosphate to the diphosphate to synthesize ATP. So these are the reactions based on which the photophosphorylation can be termed, and this is called as cyclic photophosphorylation. And in the process of cyclic photophosphorylation, only one photosystem is involved, that is photosystem 1. Here again the reaction center, that is chlorophyll A molecule, will be present, and around which some other pigments are present that are called as accessory pigments. And when sunlight falls, the photons are absorbed by these accessory pigments and it is going to pass to the reaction center, that is to the chlorophyll A pigment. Once the chlorophyll A pigment receives or absorbs sufficient amount of the photons, it would excite a pair of electron, and that pair of electron is accepted by primary electron acceptor. After accepting a pair of electron, the electron from the primary electron acceptor moves down. That means the electron moves from higher energy level to lower energy level through some electron acceptors, and here 4 electron acceptors involved, that forms an electron transport chain. The first electron acceptor is FD, that is ferredoxin, and from the ferredoxin the pair of electron is passed to PQ, that is to plastoquinone. Then from plastoquinone it enters into the cytochrome, or it accepts by the cytochrome CY. Then from the cytochrome it passed down to the plastocyanin. So here at 2 steps the energy is released, and that energy is used up to synthesize the molecule called ATP. The first point at which the energy is released is between ferredoxin and plastoquinone. When the electron were passing from ferredoxin to plastoquinone, at that time the energy is released, extra amount of the energy is released, and this energy is used to synthesize ATP. The adenosine diphosphate, when combines with the inorganic phosphate in the presence of energy that is released, it results in the formation of ATP molecule, that is an energy molecule. And at the second step, that is when electron reaches cytochrome, so at this step also the energy is released which helps in the synthesis of ATP. So at these 2 steps, at these 2 points, the ATP molecules get synthesized. Now we know that electron reaches the PC, that is in the plastocyanin, which is an electron acceptor. From the plastocyanin, the electron comes back to the chlorophyll A reaction center. This is the reason why we call the process as cyclic photophosphorylation. As it is coming back to the chlorophyll A from the plastocyanin, it is termed as cyclic photophosphorylation. And in the cyclic photophosphorylation, only one photosystem, that is photosystem 1, is involved, and this photosystem 1 is not associated with the reaction called splitting of water. It is not associated with the complex that helps in the splitting of water, that helps in the photolysis of water. So this is about the process called cyclic photophosphorylation, in which the ATP can be synthesized and there is no reducing power generated here. The reducing power can be generated only in the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. That is the reason the process non-cyclic photophosphorylation is predominant. So this is a process called cyclic photophosphorylation. Now let us see the differences between photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Then we'll see the differences between these 2 processes, that is cyclic and non-cyclic. Let us discuss about the differences between photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. So here some of the characters are given depending upon which we can differentiate photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. So here the first character is reaction center. So which type of wavelength are absorbed by the reaction center of photosystem 1? So the reaction center of photosystem 1 absorbs 700 nanometer wavelength, and PS2, the reaction center of photosystem 2, absorbs 680 nanometer of wavelength. The next character is cycling. Photosystem 1 is a system that involves in both non-cyclic photophosphorylation and cyclic photophosphorylation, whereas the photosystem 2 is a photosystem that involves only in carrying out the process of cyclic photophosphorylation. The next is ratio of chlorophyll and carotenoid. Chlorophyll and carotenoid are the pigments that are essential for photosynthesis. So here the ratio is 20/30:1, and here in the photosystem 2, 3:7:1 is the ratio of chlorophyll and carotenoid. The next one is location. As the photosystem 1 involves in both non-cyclic as well as cyclic photophosphorylation, so it is located in the outer membrane of the thylakoid and also in the stroma lamellae. Photosystem 2 is located in the stroma lamellae. Photosystem 2 is located in the outer membrane of thylakoid. Now the oxygen. So photosystem 1 is not associated with the complex that involves in the splitting of water or that involves in carrying out the reaction which is called as photolysis of water. So as there is no photolysis of water, there will be no oxygen released as a byproduct. So no oxygen. Here in the photosystem 2, it is a system that is associated with the photolysis of water, and after the reaction, after the splitting of the water molecule, it results in the formation of 2 electrons, 2 protons and 1 nascent oxygen. So here the byproduct is oxygen. Oxygen is a byproduct which forms after the photolysis of water and which is released as a byproduct from the plants. The next one is source of electrons. Photosystem 1 involves in both non-cyclic and cyclic. So photosystem 1 in the cyclic photophosphorylation receives electron from reaction center itself, whereas in non-cyclic photophosphorylation the source of electron is the reaction called photolysis of water. After the splitting of the water, the electrons which results, that electrons are accepted by the photosystem 1 in non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Here photosystem 2 will receive the electron by photolysis of water. As it is associated with the complex that involves in the splitting of water, it is going to receive the electrons after the reaction called photolysis. Let us see the comparison between cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation, which are the light reactions. So here the characters on basing which we are differentiating cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation are product synthesized. The first one is product synthesized. So in the cyclic photophosphorylation, we have already seen that ATP is synthesized and there is no reducing power. Whereas in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, ATP is also synthesized. Along with the ATP, a reducing power will also be generated, which is named as NADPH2. And here in case of cyclic photophosphorylation, there is no byproduct formation. But in the case of non-cyclic photophosphorylation, byproduct, that is nascent oxygen, is formed. Nascent oxygen is released as a byproduct in case of non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Oxygen evolved. The next character on basing which we differentiate the cyclic and non-cyclic one is oxygen evolved. So in case of cyclic, as there is no byproduct, no oxygen evolvement takes place. And here in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, oxygen is evolved or oxygen is released. The next one is photosystem requirement. We know that in cyclic photophosphorylation, only one system is involved, that is photosystem 1. In the process called non-cyclic photophosphorylation, both the system gets involved, that is photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Photosystem 1 can also be written as P700 nanometers, and Photosystem 2 can also be written as P680 nanometers. The next character is source of electrons. In cyclic photophosphorylation, the electrons are received from the pigment, from the reaction center itself. And in case of non-cyclic photophosphorylation, the electrons are released from the photolysis. That means from the splitting of water molecule. Photolysis is nothing but splitting. The next one is conditions required. In the cyclic photophosphorylation, low intensity of light is required and low concentration of carbon dioxide is required, and it can take place in anaerobic conditions, that is in the absence of oxygen. But in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, optimum intensity of light is needed and high concentration of carbon dioxide is required, and it takes place only in the presence of oxygen, that is in aerobic conditions. So this is about the differences between cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. That's all for today. Meet you in next class. Goodbye.